One of the shows that I always want to go back to is the show Steven Universe. Sure, it gets a lot of flack online for its plot progression and its filler arcs, but I actually really enjoyed my experience with it. For those that don't know, Steven Universe is a show about this guy, well, a kid at the time. His name is Steven, but he is half human and half this crystal gem. But what is that? Well, it's basically a rock where you can project a physical form and you could basically do whatever you want with it. And Steven has three guardians, Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, where they are all the crystal gems and they fight a bunch of monsters and help save the galaxy from a bunch of bad people. And Steven has a dad that does a lot of music stuff. And he's cool, he's who I strive to be whenever I go to my bald arc. And that's the core of Steven Universe is these four characters doing shenanigans, intertwining with each other. Or it's also Steven just going around his town, Beach City, interacting with the townsfolk, trying to solve these problems with his unorthodox gem ways. And it's an entertaining time. One thing that does stick with me with the show, though, is the music for sure. About like 90% of the songs are bangers. There are a few where I'm like, okay, I don't like this song at all. This is bad. But a lot of them are really good and bumping. Like, I would put them on in the car, sing along to them, belt them out, and have a swell time, just vibing. They're just good songs, what can I say? However, there is a lot of filler in the show, which it's not a bad thing whenever you binge it, like which is what I did, and I didn't have any negative things about like the Beach City episodes. However, a lot of the online community, whenever they were watching it weekly or whenever the new season would come out in chunks, because it was like, oh, Steven and Lars are stuck on a spaceship? That's kind of crazy. But Steven escaped, but Lars didn't. And Lars died, but got resurrected by Steven, and Steven can now travel between Lars and his pet lion, which he has. That's kind of crazy. How are they gonna save Lars? They don't. I mean, Lars just becomes the savior of the galaxy, which is really weird to think, knowing how Lars was just a little bitch throughout most of the show. But I liked Lars. He was pretty cool. And then the show ended, and I thought the show ended on a pretty good note. Steven saved the galaxy from all the diamonds with their geological terrorism, and it was a pretty good note. However, they made a movie that took like 2 years later, which it was alright. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it felt very unnecessary. And right after that, there was another spin-off, Steven Universe Future, which felt even more unnecessary because it was just Steven realizing that, hey, not everything's going to stay the same. And which is a good message to put out because that's just life. But it felt like that they were just trying to milk a bit of the Steven Universe IP because everyone was hyped about the finale. And it was perfect. It could have wrapped up in a nice bow, but it got extra content, which I felt diminished the whole product as a whole. The songs that came out of those were still bangers, though, I'm not gonna lie. So it wasn't a complete waste of my time. Overall, the show is alright. I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world. There are a lot of problems, like some animation things and a lot of filler, but I'm the guy that kind of likes a bit of filler in the shows. It doesn't have to always be high octane testosterone action, but it's felt a bit too much. So with that, I would have to give this show a 5 out of 10. It was pretty average. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but I felt like that if it ended at the original series, it would have been more so an 8. And if it ended at the movie, it would have been like a 7. But because of Future, I didn't really like it, and it kind of diminished the whole product as a whole. And so yeah, that's that's my thoughts on Steven Universe, the hit animated show. What do you guys think? Let me know or don't. I don't really care. I gotta go to work. Fun, because I got called in early. So I was like, I gotta get up and record this right now. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.